Before heading over to Mooshu, I stop at Krokotopia and pick up a couple spells. I pick up both Element and Spirit Blade on Jack so he can help buff Zoe, and then just give Zoe Spirit Blade.
Greetings, traveler from the City of Wizards.
I want to talk to the Emperor, but unfortunately I gotta pass a few tests first, so I talk to Loping. I do the test of Wisdom, which was very difficult. Next is the test of Strength, which would have been much easier if I got Feint on Jack instead of getting Spirit Blade. Oops. However, since Jack has Frostbite, he should be able to take it on no problem, and Feint doesn't really help with that. And Zoe's absolutely going to demolish it because it's a Storm boss, so she just gets extra damage. And now it's time for my final test. Pray to Muda. Pray to Muda.
You passed the 3 tests?
So I went through all of that just to find out that the Emperor is sick. So now I need to go and cleanse Mooshu of all its demons. We're starting with the War Oni, and of course the way you fight the War Oni is by joining a war. I wander around and tell the scouts to use the teleporters are standing right next to go back to base, grab these stolen supplies, and give the enemy soldiers a nice little durability test. I then intercept some attack orders, and now I need to take down an ice boss. And unfortunately for me, the bosses are becoming a lot more durable than I would like. But hey, Jack's allowed to also attack, so it's not that big of a deal. Now I need to go and look for the scout towers, and yep, those are scout towers. I take down some supply runners, take down a boss, set the same scout tower on fire multiple times, take down another boss, and with all that done, I can finally enter the Crimson Fields. The first of Mooshu's 3 major dungeons. Alright, I need to prepare for war. So the first thing I need to do is find materials and put up defenses. Next, I need to go and retrieve all the scouts. Now I need guards for those defenses, so I ask this Rockman, but unfortunately his friends are being trolled, so we need to go deal with that. Now, should I be using Myth Prism? Yes, but I expect Jack to do more damage, so... here's a meme I made because I'm very mush-brained. But after all that work, we finally have the ultimate defense system. Absolutely nothing can break through this, okay? We are safe. I have 100% confidence that no one will ever be able to get in, and they immediately broke in. But finally, after proving that I am a comically more powerful force than any soldier that Mooshu has, I finally have permission to go fight the War Oni.
Don't skill to reach me, but this is where your luck runs out.
That is not the War Oni.
You have defeated me as Katsumori.
Oh. The real War Oni was the friends we made along the way. Anyway, the War Oni fight is actually pretty tough thanks to these ice minions. One of them immediately tower shield War Oni, and since Jack has a weakness on him, I decided to put that Ice Bird to use. So now that Jack has an Ice Blade, obviously the War Oni is going to immediately Ice Shield. And I'm pretty sure Jack didn't end up pulling a Spirit Blade, so that's why I decided to Snow Serpent, hit it again in case Yamoga Frog doesn't kill. Which it didn't. So one more hit later and the War Oni is defeated.
You have found the Emperor's sword.
So with the first third of Mooshu finished and me finally turning level 30, I decide now is the best time to go get some gear. Specifically, some Mount Olympus gear. When I end up with full Senator gear, I decide to start questing in Mooshu again because my stats are good enough. I do eventually go back to Mount Olympus and get a full Zeus set, but I got a little bored. But yeah, here's basically how bosses go from now on. I mean, both because Zoe just hits harder than Jack, but also because the only way Jack can simultaneously buff his damage and gain pips is Ice Trap, because you don't get Ice Blade until very grossly late into the game. And on an unrelated note, when I tried to go talk to Dinho, Jack just decided he wanted to go and fight the Krakens. For reasons I can't remember, I have to go in these huts and look around, and I keep getting ambushed. Luckily for me, the same strategy that worked in Marleybone works here. You can just press escape and log out of your character, and you don't have to do the fight, you'll just respawn right outside the dungeon. And for whatever reason, it also applies to this boss, so you don't have to actually fight him, so that's kind of funny. Not like it would really be an issue, because...
Ha! We are prepared.
You have found the headpiece.
Now that I have both the pieces to the Jade Scepter, I light them on fire and get the full Jade Scepter. But in order to make it actually useful, I need to get it blessed. Unfortunately, this guy doesn't like my vibe, so I go outside and eat these weird mushrooms. And it works. He either likes my vibe a lot more, or I intimidated him. The second shrine has a required solo fight instead of a blessing, and it turns out there's a very good reason for that. The guy was monk-napped. Luckily for me, his captor is an absolute pushover and goes down pretty much no problem. I mean, apart from the minion being very annoying. But anyway, I rescue Whooping and get my staff blessed by him. And now it's time to move on to the third shrine.
The monk, Chang Su, appears to have left the shrine.
So it turns out I need someone to help me with the shrine. Luckily there's a guy standing here doing absolutely nothing except looking at his very pretty sword. So I help him out by taking out some enemy forces, stealing food from the sick villagers, because of course. And I was told there was a nice, very pretty shiny weapon from this guy.
These spirits will help me vanquish you from this land.
Who actually turns out to be very annoying because Myth Shield.
You find no weapons here.
Despite the lack of weapons, he decides to give me a hand anyway because it's not like he has anything better to do, and with that very simple task done, he can go back to staring at his sword. Now it's time to go to the Shirataki Temple and confront the Plague Oni. First thing we need to do is take down this samurai and steal his key so we can open a gate. I meet up with Dinho and he tells me that I need to dispel the force field around the temple, so I go ahead and take out this guy, which gives me a thing that does that. After dispelling the force field, I need to summon a water spirit by going to different shrines, and since my characters are strong, I decide to split them up to save a little time, with Zoe taking on the mobs and Jack taking on this boss, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do because Fire just loves spamming ice shields. And of course, my accuracy just loves messing with me. But that Ice Bird definitely can come in clutch because it can get rid of shields and weaknesses, and gives me an extra blade, which is something Jack doesn't have access to. Anyway, one blizzard later and the boss goes down, and the minion probably would have went down if it didn't element shield. But one more hit takes care of it. Or at least it would if it didn't fizzle, because of course it does. Anyway, now that I've summoned the water spirit, I'm gonna kill it. The first phase of the Plague Oni fight goes down without a hitch. It's a little annoying that the boss is ice, but that doesn't hinder me too much.
Defeated, Hideyoshi crumples to the ground and fades. A demon emerges from his still form. It is the Plague Oni.
So, yeah, after Mount Olympus, Plague Oni is kind of a joke, but that doesn't mean he can't do some pretty annoying stuff. So, me being absolutely power hungry and not wanting to deal with a bunch of shields decides to immediately attack, and it actually one-shots Plague Oni, which I did not expect. Unfortunately, the minions are still around, surviving on 4 HP, but one more hit and they're dealt with. So that's it for the second part of Mooshu. And after finishing off Plague Oni, I decided to head back to Mount Olympus, and since I have the full set, why not make my characters look nice? So I decided to make Zoe a cat girl because that's a mythical thing that I could put in the thumbnail to get clicks. 67 damage and 11 accuracy is really good. But just in case, I also have my resist pet so I can take a couple more hits. I decided to make Jack look like a paladin because he's going to be playing tank and support. Yeah, he's pretty tanky, 2200 health, 22 resist, 49 damage, so he can be a decent backup hitter, which is basically all he really needs to be because no Ice Blade. Now, I probably spent more time getting this gear than I will be actually using it, but oh well. It's time to start up the Death Oni arc. So, in order to actually fight the Death Oni, I need to make a Pokeball and catch a Ghost type because only that can get me across that broken bridge back there. Luckily for me, this guy's grandpa has a couple hundred hours in Pokemon Legends Arceus, so I can go ask him for help. Unfortunately, due to him being kinda dead at the moment, he can't really physically help me. Fortunately for me, he can at least tell me how to craft one, and he keeps the recipe in his basement. Unfortunately, yeah, the recipe is incomplete, so I need to go look for the rest of the parts. Now that I have the recipe, I need to get the ingredients, starting with fire, obviously. Alright, next I need some dust, so I go back into the basement and roll around in it.
You look quite dirty. I meant for you to bring the dust in a pouch, but you wear it well.
Now that I have my Pokeball, I'm summoning a ghost so I can go catch it.
They don't call me evil for nothing. I will show no mercy.
Unfortunately, this is a solo fight, so everything's going to be a little slower than I'd like it to be, even though it was very easy. Unfortunately, I don't have the correct badge to use the HM to get over the bridge, so I'm going to need to forge my own.
For all the spirits here, who could help you forge a chain? Why, the blacksmith. Speak with Shihong B nearby. When she was alive, she could forge anything.
Yeah, it works for me.
I'll be frank with you. I'm a ghost. I'm not sure what I can help you with, but whatever it is, it's free.
Alright, now I need to go gather the ingredients for the gem badge. And it turns out all I need to do is cancel The Walking Dead. But since these kind ghosts help me for free, I'll take down an evil ghost for them.
If you want to be humiliated in battle, by all means, fight me.
Now that I have my ghost type and my Sorrow City gym badge, I can finally cross the bridge.
No, you mustn't cross the waters. I will not help. I can't stop. No! I cannot refuse. I will help you across.
The Tree of Life is 3 bosses, 2 of which being the Death Oni, so I'm just gonna... But now, it's finally time to cleanse Mooshu of its final demon.
Fool! Do you think I would give up this shell so easily? I am not like the other Oni. You have woken me only to make me stronger. This land is mine.
Alright, so Jade Oni is an incredibly straightforward boss, just like everything else, with the only difference being that he has 6,000 health. So I just decided to pack a bunch of buffs, because unfortunately Zoe's biggest hit is Cyclops, and Jack doesn't have as many things he could set up for himself, so going for the one-shot is not going to be the easiest thing. And I just really need to hope he does not weakness Zoe, because that would be very annoying. And with that, I take down the Jade Oni and earn the Oni Slayer badge. And that is the Mooshu experience.